are other people the victims of your frustration from boundaries that weren't set or boundaries that weren't respected? And so today we're going to be talking about how to set boundaries, and then are boundaries being selfish or are they self-care? And I think at this point it's all about self-preservation. So I have 3 points that I want to make today. You can't be mad that people don't respect boundaries that you don't set. 2, you have to manage your expectations around the boundaries that you set and meet people where they are. And then 3, can people really give you advice on what they have not done and demonstrated for themselves? So let's get this party started. Number 1, bring the camera down a little bit. You can't be mad that people don't respect boundaries that you set. And so many times in the workplace, women get angry that people aren't respecting their boundaries and their breaks and all these other kind of things. And they don't respect me when I'm at home, and they're sending me emails at 3 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. They're calling me. But here's the thing. I always have a question. Did you respond to an email that was sent to you at 1 o'clock in the morning? So that let the people know that you were available. And here's the thing about leadership, crazy leaders who have ridiculous expectations. There are no boundaries unless you set them. And a lot of times when I think about these articles that say you need to ensure the psychological safety of your employees, not for high achievers who don't set boundaries for themselves, right? And so if you respond at 1 o'clock in the morning because you want to feel needed, because you want to feel important, because you want to have their back, don't be mad that they're going to send you another one and another one. And so you never drew a line in the sand of what you will tolerate. And, winners have no obstacles, right? Like, and you're talking to leaders, and some of them are crazy. I want to be clear, but you've now just trained them that you'll be there. You'll be with them to be able to get them to where they're going while you're left behind. And so whenever somebody emails you at a certain time, either you be like, I don't take calls after this time, I don't answer emails, then that's something that you have to set up for yourself. And whether that's expressed or like unanswered, that's something that you need to do. And my COO, who's a workaholic, who works for an amazing boss, but she's a little crazy sometimes, but she lives in a different country, and she'll be emailing me at, if it's 7 o'clock my time, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, hey man, like, I'm just sending you this email for tomorrow. So we had to have a conversation because I burn out. And because whenever she's burnt out, she's not at her best. So we had to have this conversation of, I don't expect for you to write me back. You bet not have a notification on your phone that signals, which she did, an email that came from me so she could answer me. That's not what I expect of you. That's not what I want of you. That's not what I expect of you. But I expect that when you're on, and not allow your drive and your unwillingness to set expectations and boundaries with your boss, or it's just a miscommunication because I was just trying to get out of my head. And so I'm going to show y'all a screenshot right quick of one of my clients, because between not setting boundaries for breaks, sleep time, morning routine, self-care, having all these things that are going to allow you to be emotionally healthy. Now, when it comes to setting boundaries, or when somebody comes to ask you, are you willing to take somebody else's job? You'll say yes, because you want to demonstrate to them that you have value. How many of y'all put me in the chat or raise your hand that at your job, when they're reorganizing, or Tony left, or Nancy is out on maternity leave, they ask you to take that person's job? Everybody's done it. And then you end up doing Nancy, Tony, and John's job. You're doing 3 to 4 people's jobs. Look, without failing. Right? Like, you don't miss a deadline. You not only have your job, you got 4 people's jobs, but you still, now they don't know you crazy because you can't tell the truth. You're doing 4 people's jobs. Why would they now hire somebody else? Why would they bring in somebody else when you're doing a phenomenal job? Cheryl is doing a great job by doing, I can't believe she's doing it. We saving so much money, and then they get the bonus. and you don't get the promotion. Oh, they get the bonus for recouping $300,000 to $400,000 in salaries that they don't have to pay out. They get a bonus for that, and you don't get a promotion, and now you're over there crazy, hair falling out, and you're doing 4 people's jobs, including your own, and now you're not doing it that well. And then over time, let's say a year or 2 from now your performance starts to deteriorate, and then you're not promotable. And then you get your feelings hurt because now the new manager comes in. The new manager don't even know that you're doing 4 people's jobs. They thought that was your job. So can y'all see how you know these toxic and ridiculous cycles are set? Because the first time somebody said, "Hey, do you want to take this person's job?" You was like, "But let's talk about it." So I'm gonna show y'all a screenshot right quick. This is my client, January 25, 2024. Somebody was like, "Hey, Field and left. We need to fill Phil's job. Are you willing to take his role?" Now, the background is you need to know who you are. You need to know your value in the market, and you need to fully be able to own how great you are and know that this job is just a job, and I don't have to be here. Right? You knowing who you are, your value in the market, and knowing that you'll take their money, but you don't need their money, but I'll take your money because I'm giving you an exchange of my intellectual property, my time, and my value. But I don't have to be here. That is the biggest form of job security you can ever have in your life. A lot of y'all get these secure jobs and y'all are playing safe, but they're not safe. Or you're going to get a degree to be able to ensure your job security. You know how great you are at being able to articulate it and showing up to do your role respectfully, right? Because you love what you do, but you also know that they need you more than you need them. That's the greatest sense of job security. So anyway, so they was like, "Hey, Phil is leaving, and are you willing to take on his role?" She was like, "No." They were like, "Well, can you take it?" That there's a difference in will you and now can you. She was like, "No, I'm not looking for extra responsibility. That's not her job. Phil's job is not her job. And she know I don't have to be here. Now I'm gonna take y'all money as long as we're here." Right? Like, I like what I do. I'm cool. Phil leaving your department ain't got nothing to do with me. And she didn't say it like that, but she was like, "No, I'm not looking for any additional responsibility." And they said, "Well, can you take it?" She said, "All right, well, let me consider it. Let's talk about it. All right, I'm doing it on 2 conditions. As long as we can agree that this is temporary." How long? How long do y'all need? So she set the expectation. How long? They said 90 days. She said, "Okay." Now, she set an intention of, "I'll do it, but this can't be forever because that's not what I came here for. That's not what I signed up for. That's not my department. It's not my job. And I'm not willing to take Phil's job to show y'all that I have value because she noticed she has value." Does this make sense to you? Put "makes sense" in the chat. I want to be 100% clear when you know who you are. And she wasn't being nasty about it. She was just having a rational conversation. And so the challenge that a lot of people have with regards to jobs, you can't have a rational conversation because you're afraid. You're afraid of losing the job because you think you need that job more than they need you. And that's a challenge. So they were like, "Okay, 90 days. She said, "Okay, well, if I do his job for 90 days, it has to be temporary. And I want a 30% increase added to my base pay for the additional work." They said, "Okay." They said, "Okay," so fast, y'all. She was mad that she didn't ask for 50%. So she got a 30% increase, was approved, went into effect 6 days later. So she got an extra $4,000 a month added to her salary. Now, for 90 days. Here's the thing. Are you caught in a cycle of disrespect from people who you've never told them and taught them and trained them on how to treat you? This goes for personal relationships, and it also goes into jobs. And so when it comes to your job, if you feel like you're a hostage to your job, then it's like, what boundaries can I set? And so I have other clients. One of them was like, "Okay, she blocked her calendar out from 12 to 1. because 12 to 1 was when she took lunch and she wanted to relax and decompress. She was doing DEI. She took a break. And once she blocked her calendar out, they didn't ask her, what are you doing? I have a client that I interviewed a couple of months ago. She'll block out her calendar to put her kids on the bus and get them off. She'll block out her calendar 2 days and 2 hours in the daytime to be riding horses. Over there in Singapore. You know what makes me happy? I want to ride my horses more. She blocked out her calendar. Like, have you blocked your calendar out for times to do things that make you happy? Are you just working to prove that you have value? And because you're working all the time, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, you're a little crazy. Now you don't have time or the energy or the aptitude to be able to claim how great you already are. And you walking around feeling depleted and deflated, wanting people to feel sorry for you, and they don't. And you forgot how powerful you are because you're tired and you're burning out. So that is point number 1. Holler if you hear me. And again, we are here talking about week 3 in 90 days to burnout recovery. What week is it, y'all? I'm sorry. Week 4. Week 5, whatever week we in. Y'all, I'm doing these videos every day. I forgot what week we in. So this is this is the one about setting boundaries. Now, number 2, manage your expectations and meet people where they are. Here's the thing about high achievers. High achievers will give, do, give, do. And the one time you do ask for something, people get mad because we have taught people to need us. We have trained people to be takers, and we don't expect anything in return. And when we do expect something, they ain't got it. They mad because we have trained people to need us and to like us. And we have trained our family to call us to help them move. Hey, man. Christy, can you help me move? No, I did help my cousins move. I ain't gonna front for Christmas. But that was like some, that was my family. And I was in town, right? But now it's like at a certain point, and it depends on where they are. So I don't even know if this example is going to be valid. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. That's because I ain't helped nobody move. Y'all ain't moved in a long time. But when you become that go-to person where they're always calling you to help you move, and this happens a lot more with men than it does with women, right? Your cousin to move 50 times, and he called you 50 times to come help him move from one place to the next place to the next place. And now you 40 something. You don't you don't have a 20-year-old back. And they keep moving. Hey man, hire a moving company. Does that make sense? And so when I think about setting the boundaries and meeting people where they are and manage your expectations, y'all see when I lit up, when I said I helped my cousins move, I actually enjoyed that. And if what somebody's asking you to do is drudgery where you don't enjoy it, it's okay to say no. I ain't doing that. No, I don't want to do that. You could just say no. No is a complete sentence. Put no in the chat. No. A while ago, probably about 10 years ago, when I finally made it out of my brother's house from burning out, and I was having at a happy hour one of my friends, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, Christy, do you want to go to now the Commanders?" It was the Redskins at the time, the Commanders football game, because my boyfriend can't go, and I have his ticket. And I was like, no. Right? I'd have moved on. and they were all waiting for the rest of the answer. I started talking about something different. And probably about 10 minutes later, my other friend was like, Christy, God dog, you said no, you meant that. I was like, but I didn't want to do it. I don't watch football. And I don't want to go sit at a game for 4 hours. That's not give. I'm an entrepreneur. I was a broke early entrepreneur too. So in these 4 hours, I need to be making money. Because in entrepreneurship, if you don't hunt, you wasn't eating. I had not my business up to run without me, right? And so I'm going to go spend 4 hours doing something that I don't want to do. That's not going to give me an ROI. That's not important to me. That's not in alignment with how I want to be today. so she can like me. That's pretty much what I would have did it to not disappoint her. But that's not my business, y'all. So are you doing things to not let people down when it's not your business? Are you doing things to not let people down that you don't want to do, that you have no business doing because you don't want people to be mad at you? Now you're mad at yourself for 4 hours. You done spent your money for 4 hours to do something that you don't want to do to make somebody like you. Your relationship to me is not that important. That I'm gonna hate myself so you can like me. I'm good. I was like this. No. I wasn't mad. I ain't. No, because my cat need braces and I gotta go to the dentist and girl, I got to clean my house. No, I already got something to do. I'm not going to lie to tell you no. I'm not going to operate outside of integrity just so I can save face. And here's the thing about being able to trust ourselves. We tell little white lies to make people feel good. They know we lying. You might well just tell the truth and hit them in the head with it and let the chips fall where they may. Now, manage your expectations and meet people where they are. Here's the thing about what I learned with my family when I was in my brother's house, smoked out, and just burn out. And I had to learn these things the hard way, y'all. I had to burn out and lose my whole mind. I promise y'all I had 2% brain capacity left. I singed my brain in stage 12 burnout to a place that I'm not sure if people ever come back from, ever. And so it took me to lose everything. Because once I lost my mind, I couldn't make any money because I couldn't get a job. I was psychologically unemployable. I could not talk for a year. All I could do was drink liquor and watch Lord of the Rings. I had nothing. So I'm coming here to share with y'all these things and these lessons. So don't be like me. Put in the chat, I don't want to be like you. Right? Like, don't be like me. That was because once that happened, I couldn't blame anybody else because the only person that's in the house, in my brother's house, the only person I could point the finger at that time was me. I couldn't blame anybody else, right? Like it was me. So have you trained people to need you, and are you willing to meet people where they are? So let's go to my family. Some people in my family smoke cigarettes. And that's okay. These are grown people. These are 60-year-old people. And so I used to sit in the room. This is my real hair. I don't wear wigs. I can't shake them out. But I used to sit in the rooms and, for Christmas or Easter or just to go visit my family, and they smoke. And my hair smoked up. My clothes smell like smoke. I got to wash my hair now, and I don't smoke. So I don't like cigarette smoke, but in order to be respectful, I would sit there and be smoked up and get a headache and go home, right? And have to go to sleep off the headache just so I can be in communion with my family. So once I burned out and the book 90 Days to Burnout Recovery is how I got out of my brother's house, right? I had to start to set up these new expectations for how I wanted to live my life. Once I lost everything, I had to now say, okay, so that was stupid. The first 37 years actually. So what are you going to do differently? So if my house was built on sand, how do I now build my house on rock? These are the things that I'm telling you. And so I would go visit my family, and when they lit up a cigarette, I'd get up and leave. I'd be like, all right, see y'all later. I can't be like, it'd be nice, auntie, if you didn't smoke in front of me. Man, my aunt's been smoking forever. What they gonna pay? Like, man, get out of here. I'm in their house trying to tell them what to do. But at this point, I'm grown, y'all. Like, we grown. So I just got up and I left. And so then I'll go visit again. They light up a cigarette. All right, y'all, it was good to see y'all. I'm gone. Now, here's the thing. It probably took about 10 to 15 times for them to realize every time they light a cigarette, Christy leaves. They was like, wait, every time we light a cigarette, this girl gone. So then they were like, okay, now if they wanted to spend more time with me because I'm amazing, and it's okay, it's their choice, y'all. You got to meet people where they are. I just was not willing to tell somebody what to do in their own house. Y'all know that ain't gonna work anyway. Not for the Gen Xers trying to talk to a boomer. Never. So I was like, all right. So then they were like, all right, Christy, they will hold out for about an hour. And, we playing spades. I'm black. We play spades. And then they be like, all right, Christy, I can't take it no more. You're going to have to leave. So they started to catch on to my actions, not my words, because I'm being respectful. I leave. I don't have to stay here. I'm grown. But after a while, they be like, all right, Christy, we're going to smoke now. You can leave. And then we laughed about it. I hugged them and I'm gone. And they light up the room. But I'm not a volunteer victim of something that I can clearly control because I'm in my late 30s at that time. So are you willing to meet people where they are? And when it comes to family, are you being a hostage to things that don't make you happy and that you don't enjoy because you're simply not willing to own that you've grown now and you can pick up your bed and walk? Right? Or are you trying to get people to do stuff that you want them to do in order for you to feel good? Now, is it, I'll be like, hey, y'all know y'all need to stop smoking. Smoking causes da-da-da-da. They see the commercials. This is their house. They can do what they want to do. They're grown. Are you trying to change people to accommodate how you want to feel, or will you just start to own how you want to feel and act accordingly and let the chips fall where they may? Number 3, can family give you advice on what they haven't experienced? Now, this is where it gets tough. Y'all dig y'all heels in. Put it in the chat. Dig it in my heels. Y'all get ready for this one. The challenge that first gen, y'all put first gen in the chat if you first gen. You're the first in your family to do something, right? Whether you're the first one to leave your country and come over here to America, or whether you're the first person in your family to graduate from college, or whether you're the first person in your family to do something. When we're the first, we're out here, and you want to stay connected, but then there gets to a certain point where what you've experienced has exceeded the experiences of your family. So their advice is no longer as valid as it used to be. And it doesn't invalidate that they don't care about you, and it doesn't invalidate that their advice is not good, but their advice may not be right for where you are and where you want to be. And so it's almost like if you're, on the 35th floor of a building in New York, right? I would say the 65th, but we're always climbing. So I'll just say 35th, right? At a certain point, you're on the 35th floor looking out, and you can see the Hudson, you can see Central Park, and I know New York. So y'all don't be like, you can't see the Hudson and Central Park. I'm just making it up. Right? I've been in New York a lot. I don't really know the landmarks, but y'all work with me here. But you can see the river. You can see the Statue of Liberty. You can see Central Park, right? Let's say you got the penthouse that goes all the way around. You just walk around the thing, right? Let's just do it that way. And when you ask your family for advice, if they haven't been where you've been, if they haven't done what you've done, if they haven't experienced what you've experienced, if they haven't worked in corporate offices, if they haven't been to Paris, and they haven't partied all over the world like I have, if they haven't done these things, then it doesn't mean that their advice isn't good. It just may not be right because of what I've experienced. And so when you're getting advice from your family, let's say if they've only gotten to the 3rd story and you're on the 35th story, it's not necessarily comparing good and bad. It's like if they've sacrificed and done certain things, we should be better than our parents. We should be better than our parents, and then we pass that down to our children or our nieces and nephews to make sure they don't experience what we experienced. So when you're asking for advice, They may be giving you good advice, but if their view of New York is on the third floor and they're beside a building that is 35 feet or 35 stories up, then they're looking at the wall. It might be graffiti painted. On the third floor, you can still hear the trash trucks in the morning, right? You can hear people walking by. You can hear a lot of noise. You can hear everybody blowing their horns because that's what they do. You can probably hear that on the 20th floor. My God, right? Like people are blowing their horns. You can hear the traffic. Like the experience that somebody's going to get on the third floor in New York, which is nice, is not the same as what you're going to get on the 35th floor. You don't really hear as much. You see more. You can experience more. You can have a different perspective. And y'all are actually standing in the exact same place. The perspective is different. So when you're asking your family for advice, or when they're starting to give you unsolicited advice, you have to be able to assess whether or not their advice is valid and good for where you want to be. And so if you've had, like, my aunts and uncles been married forever, I don't know, like 30, 40, no, actually it's like 50, 60 years now. I can ask them advice on relationships and how to sustain a marriage one day. And so it's like, they've been married, they stick it out. In my family, there is no divorce. They just stick together and forever. My mom's generation. So it's like, I can ask them advice on marriage. But if I'm talking to somebody who's been divorced 3 times about how to sustain a good marriage, I'm talking to the wrong person. If I'm talking to somebody who's miserable in their marriage forever, I'm talking to the wrong person. So it's like, choose the people that you're talking to. But when you start to get advice about your career, if they have not experienced that, then they can't. And so let me give y'all an example. And it's not bad, it's just different. I remember when I was in Houston and we had these port security grants, and Christy Rutherford, who's always been amazing. It was $140 million nationwide total that they were giving out. The government was giving out after September 11th. They were giving out $140 million nationwide. I got Houston $41 million. One port got $41 million out of the 140 million nationwide total. I got them $41 million, right? People were like, what is going on in Houston? That was me. And so, the second round go out because now the government is trying to make sure the stuff that happened on September 11th doesn't happen in the maritime world. So it's like the second round goes out, beat them across the head, we get a large total again. And so people just started to wonder. In LA, they wrote an article like, what the FUCK is going on in Houston? It was me, right? And so this guy called, and he was like, hey, I want to bring you out to LA because we want to know what you're doing to get these grants. And I was like, you don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to my boss. He's like, no, I want to talk to you. All right. Boop. He calls again. I said, no, you don't want to talk to me, because I had not owned how great I was. Now I'm working. I'm producing results. And this is where we get it twisted, right? I'm producing. It's bananas. They writing articles and I'm trying to hide. Like, why am I hiding? I'm the greatest to ever do it. He calls again. I said, you don't want to talk to me? He said, Christy, I do want to talk to you. I had to learn this. Somebody said, not you. Oh yeah, I had to learn this, right? You better own what you're doing. He said, no, I want to talk to you. It's you. I know it's you. I asked your boss. He told me to talk to you. Don't be trying to get me to go to him. I want you to fly out to LA because I want you to tell us in the room what you're doing. LA, which is the largest port in the US. Philly was there. Portland, Miami, right? Like all of these ports, like the people were there. And they wanted to hear me talk. And so I remember calling my father, and he was like, keep your feet on the ground. Don't get your head too big. Right? Stay humble. And I'm young. I was 30. So I'm young and I'm afraid to shine. And I'm in the room, it's all white men and one white woman. And they came to hear me talk. I'm an expert. And I can hear the stuff that my father was saying in the back of my head. Be humble. Keep your feet on the ground. Don't get your head too big. You better not do this. You better not do that. And I'm not, he was doing that to protect me. But again, we're 3rd floor, 35th floor. Our experiences are different. What I've demonstrated in my life is different. And y'all, I froze. So while I'm talking, I'm stuttering. Right? And they looking at me like, you know, and I'm already saying it's already rejection when I walk in the room. But the one guy who knew me was out of DC. He was like, hey, man, and he apologized to them for my poor performance because they look at him like, why you bring this stuttering idiot in here who can't even get her words together? And so I remember I was so embarrassed. I froze. I was stuttering. It was awful. And he apologized, and all I could hear was, I don't belong here. My thoughts defeated me that I couldn't demonstrate how great I was in a room that I was invited to be in to share my expertise. And so I went to my room, I cried. We was at some resort in Arizona. And I said, you know what? This is the last piece of advice. And I love my father, but I can't listen to him guide me in my career anymore because I've exceeded what he's seen. I had to draw a line in the sand and say his advice is no longer good for me for where I'm going because I need a different level of understanding of myself and what I believe in about myself than what he was taught from his generation. Put I get it in the chat if you feel that, say I feel it. Right? Like I had to draw a line in the sand that it's no longer valid. And I had to forgive him and I had to forgive myself because it was out of love. But that was to my detriment. So I wrote the notes down that I wanted to talk about. I sent the guy an email and I said, hey, I'm still here. I want to talk tomorrow. Make some room for me to be able to give you what I know. And I showed out in the room. I gave them the juice, right? And so I was able to now clearly stand in the confidence of what my family had created, like through their experiences for me. But at a certain point, I had to be able to let go of the limitations and soar like the eagle that they created. Right? I had to be able to let go of some of the limiting conversations to be able to soar on who they created and what they have not seen and what they can't give me advice for. And I gave them, they said, my God, who is this lady? This is who y'all invited to be in the room to give y'all the juice on what y'all need to be able to compete with me. And get this money to secure these ports. And so that was a turning point moment for me in my life when it came to not owning how great I am and not believing in myself. But it's like, you know, and I think there are a couple other things to go along with that. That man offered me a job all the time. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about the next thing. That guy was like, hey, man, come work for me. I got offered a job, I promise you, once or twice a month when I was in Houston because I was the greatest. And still, but I was playing safe and secure. I wasn't going to leave my government check because it was delicious, it was crispy, and it was guaranteed on the 1st and 15th. But I became loyal to dysfunction, right? I became loyal to disrespect, that I wasn't going to leave my check, although I was fighting somebody every freaking day. So that's just on the flip side of, you know, when you don't know how great you are, people will exploit that and they will pay you less than you deserve. But it's also that if you don't know how great you are and you haven't owned it, people will offer you jobs for you to level up and leave what is killing you. But we're too afraid because we haven't seen how great we are. So that was like 3 different lessons wrapped up in one. And so I want y'all to consider when somebody's giving you advice, it may be good advice, but it may not be right advice, right? It may be good it may have been good for a season, but y'all, we've extended past that season. We're supposed to be great. And so I see so many people having limiting conversations and you think your opportunities are limited when the opportunities are plentiful. And we have to get past having this conversation of what they're doing to us, what they won't let us do, and all this other kind of stuff, and be like, man, the world is your oyster. Own how great you are. Put some air in your chest and go out there and get what you deserve, because nobody's going to come and hand it to you on a silver platter. So the 3 points that I made today, when it comes to setting boundaries with your family, you can't be mad that people don't respect the boundaries that you didn't set. This is at work and in your family. Manage your expectations, and this is also at work. So everything, you have your self, you got your home self, you got your mama self, you got your daddy self, you got the daughter, the sister. This, like, y'all are living from an experience of division. You're actually one person. If you can align with who you are and why you're here, you live from the perspective of oneness, and you're able to live that experience out in the world, as opposed to living from a divided mind, trying to be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself. So you got one persona in front of them, one persona in front of them, and then after a while, you wear so many masks, you forget how great you are. You wear so many masks, you can't claim how great you are, because you don't know how people are going to feel about it. So I want to give you permission to own how great you are. Don't care how other people feel about it, because when you own how great you are, the people who are for you will like it, whether or not you care, and the people who are not for you won't like it, and they won't gonna like you anyway. So if people celebrate you being a weaker version of yourself, those are not your friends. Oh Lord, if y'all didn't catch that, boom. I don't know what else to say. If people like you playing small, and they need that in order to feel comfortable around you, you can't be complaining that you are hostage to not having opportunities, because you need some people that are going to encourage you to get uncomfortable and be a greater version of yourself. So you can't be mad at people don't respect boundaries that you didn't set. Manage your expectations of people. Meet them where they are. Don't be trying to change people. Just own who you are, own that you're grown, and go do you. And then can people and family give you advice on what they haven't experienced? So with that, y'all, we'll be back tomorrow for part 5 of this series. Take care. God bless.